What is a typical day in the life like as a 23-year-old boat mechanic here in the Midwest?
What is going on, everybody? It is Bush Fishing and we have returned for another vlog. This video is going to be mainly about one boat. So behind me is a Maxim. It's the Eddie Bauer edition, and I've been servicing this boat for a few years now. Customer came in, he said he's going to be gone for a little bit, so he's got a few things that he wants me to take a look at while he's gone. First one's going to be this winch up here. He says that the handle keeps on hitting the boat, so he's scratching stuff up and he can't get it all the way up, and because of that he's having issues with tongue weight. So I can pick the boat up with one hand and that's just way too loose. So I have permission to kind of change all of this because I've looked at a few pictures of these online and they all look the same. The handle's way too close to the boat. So I do have down here a new winch that came off of a wooden boat, and I think what I'm planning on doing is cutting the welds for this pipe down here from up underneath, cutting these welds, taking out this inner piece, flipping it because this is all adjustable, so our angle's different, so the roller comes up a little higher. Then we can lower this and mount the winch in front here, so then it kind of follows this. And I could cut this excess off, but we'll just kind of see how it looks. We want it to look nice. Next issue, nav lights aren't working. That should be pretty simple. I pulled this off, but we got to look deeper in to see if it's a bulb issue or if it's a wiring issue. And the other issue is trailer lights. So not a whole lot on the boat, pretty much trailer issues. He does say this has the little 4-banger Merc in it. He says that once he hits 30 miles an hour, it makes a tapping noise. And then above 30, it doesn't do it, and below 30, it doesn't do it. So we might put this thing on the lake and take a look at that. Just kind of see if it's a lifter, if it's a pulley, something like that. But for now, what I'm gonna do is get you guys set up, and we're gonna start with the winch. We'll start disassembling this and kind of do some fabrication. I will bring you guys along later. We're gonna be picking up a bunch of outboards. I have a gentleman who's gonna bring in, I think, 4 right now, and then there's a fishing team that we're gonna work on all of them. So we'll bring you guys with for the kind of behind the scenes on getting those motors, and then that'll be a whole different video, so that'll be exciting. I do have some other things I need to do. I'm gonna be selling these 2 jet skis. That was zoomed in. I'm gonna be selling the 2 of these. This is a 96 Polaris. This thing runs great. The trailer we kind of did some fabrication on, but it's a good running ski. And then this is my RXT 215. The cover looks like shit, but the actual jet ski is pretty nice. It's really fast, but we don't use them ever. Literally have used them twice this year, and that was when my boat wasn't working, and now that my boat is working. Don't use them, so gonna get rid of those. Don't need them in here. Made some improvements to the shop. We've got some mats now by the doors, by the bathroom doors, so we don't track dirt in. Eventually, I will be drywalling this up here. They're gonna do some work here and fix these outlets because none of these work down here. But I'll put some drywall up there, and I think we're gonna paint it black and do the hex lighting. And then we do have something very big coming for the upstairs. And I don't know when we'll announce that or when you guys will see that. I have a feeling it's not gonna be like anything crazy, but it would be very exciting to do. So more content for you guys from up there. But for now, let me get you guys on the tripod and let's get working on this Maxim. Alrighty, got my impact and a rail of sockets. This is for checking lights later. First thing, this winch sucks anyway, so we'll get rid of this. You can see how light this is in the bow. Also, the trailer's bendy. Like, I can see the whole back of the trailer moving, so that's exciting. What I think I'm gonna do is take the whole winch off, and then we'll kind of make our cuts on the bench. This inner piece is welded on the inside. What I'm thinking, it's cut on an angle. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't reach the top, but if I flip it or if I just change the angle of this to up, we'll get the roller higher so we can get the boat forward more, and then we'll fit the winch behind it, that winch. And then the strap's not gonna rub on this or anything, and we can actually move this forward too, make more room for it. I think that's what's gonna work. And I'll get to use my welder, and I haven't used my welder in a while, and I want to weld. I do need to freshen up the welding skills, because we're going to build some fiberglass racks and some wire racks. I have some 2-inch pipe here. I don't have any square tubing. I was thinking about making a whole new mount for this, cutting it down and doing my 2-inch pipe in like a triangle or something. I did figure out the math on notching tubing, so that was a big moment for me when we were trying to build the T-top for that boat. So yeah, let's get this guy off. All right, that was easy. Shout out Milwaukee. Let's put all the hardware in the chair here so we don't lose that later. There we go. Let's take this to the bench and see what we can do. So this guy down here has an adjustable base. If we loosen this bolt up, holy shit. What the hell? I definitely put that in with the impact. We put it in with the impact. Let's take it out with the impact. That was easy. So that piece slips out. So we'll use this, but what we need to do, hopefully you guys can see that, we got welds on the inside of here that we need to cut out. Before we do that, I'm going to take the winch off. We're getting that out of the way anyway. Heads of the bolts are welded on, so that's pretty neat. I got to start building up my hardware store in here by saving all these nuts and stuff. There goes the old winch. Guess the bolts weren't welded on. I just got lucky. You guys should see the tote I have filled with just old bolts and stuff. It's like having a hardware store that's unorganized in your shop. So, how am I going to do this? I have a 16th inch cutoff wheel, and I think I can come in on these angles and get this stuff cut. So let me set up the grinder and get some ear protection. Okay, I think I got this figured out. So we obviously cut this piece off and changed the angle on it so the roller's higher. We're about 2 inches up, so the boat will come forward 2 inches, maybe a little more, pretty much until that U-bolt hits. The angle from this is pretty straight on. If the boat's further back and you're cranking it up, it does have this little wear plate here, so I'm not worried about that winch hitting. And then we are actually touching the winch, so I can weld that there. And we will have this U-bolted down, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna weld this winch on the actual post. And I think our geometry should be right. We still have the safety. We'll weld, it's pretty much a triangle that we'll weld in here. We'll weld the sides, weld down that, so it's no longer adjustable. But I'll tack it on for now and try pretty much winching the boat forward. The only issue is I don't have my mask. I don't know where that is. So I'm gonna ask one of my neighbors if they have one. If they do, sweet, I will put that in. And then we'll move on with the boat. And we'll have to grind out some of the paint and then repaint this, but I'll pretty much get everything tacked in and try winching the boat forward and get it up to the bow stop, check the tongue weight, see what that's sitting like, make sure we're not gonna have any issues with the bow hook hitting the roller. But there's plenty of room now for the winch, so I think this should be quite a bit better. What is up, everybody? We have returned and I got something cool. So we're going to finish up this boat, the Maxim that we were working on earlier in the video right there. Yes, there is a vehicle in here. My old lady bought a new car yesterday, so I need to fix and sell this one because it overheated on the way over there. Just couldn't get rid of it. So maybe I'll film some of that, but I got some new mics. So the Stark guys actually recommended these to me. They were using them. We actually used them in that video that we filmed with them. But we do have some exciting things coming. Do you guys want to see a podcast? Not like a regular podcast, but literally just us filming, talking about boats and stuff like that, and kind of behind the scenes. Because we filmed like a tester that's probably not going to get released yesterday, and it was kind of fun. And like if you guys, maybe I'll make a community post or something, but if you guys comment and say like, oh, talk about this motor, talk about this boat and why it sucks, or how to do this, and then we just talk about it. Pretty sweet case. So it comes with a charging case, which I think is cool because, you know, we have issues with having microphones charged. There's a sticker. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get this set up. Oh, they're on. Let me get this set up. How does that sound? We got a fan going on in the back. These are much smaller, and they have the magnet thing to go on the inside of your shirt, so that's kind of cool. Might end up using that, but let me make sure this works. So let's get after it. We repaired the winch on this. I need to get I need to get the boat scooted forward. So that way it's actually sitting on the roller. I can make sure that works. We went through the trailer lights. We made sure all the trailer lights are working. I might take the ground off the trailer and clean that up just to make sure there's good connection. But everything that I've seen, it seems like it's a guy's truck. So we'll have to let him know that. The last thing we have in here in the boat, we have an ignition switch that we need to tighten up, and then we just got to see why this anchor light's not working, and then we're done with this one. And then we'll get into whatever else we're gonna do today, which might be working on this thing. I hope not. I might push that one off a little bit. We might film a little glass polish reel or a short and use my truck's windshield as the kind of test subject. I've used this with Stark down there. It's not, but I'm gonna first let me figure this out. Fucking mosquitoes. All right, first things first, I'm gonna hop up in the boat and turn the nav lights on. Anything? We've got nothing. It seems like there's a wire that's broken off up here. There's a white wire that looks like it's glued down, so let me pry that up. So our white wire's not in. This, I would assume, gets connected up in here. Still nothing. Well, let's pop the cap off. Actually, let me hit this with the meter first. So I'll go to voltage, ground, and power. 12 volts. So most likely it's gonna be a bulb or shit connection in here. All right, now we'll remove these screws underneath. Our bulb fell. For the hell of it, let's see if this bulb comes on. No, needs a bulb. Thought I had one of these. Doesn't look blown, but no juice, so it needs a bulb and probably a base. Just kind of show you guys how this works. On the underside, the ground gets connected to this, and then there should be a power kind of terminal there, which there's not, but all this is, bulb gets power on one side, ground on the other, so it sits in the power post, and the ground comes from that screw that goes into it. So I just ordered that the whole new nav light base and the whole assembly, so that'll be here this evening. So we'll still be able to get this one finished up at least for tomorrow for him to pick it up. And the last thing I have, I believe, is we're gonna hop up in the boat and take a look at the key switch. He said it's spinning, which I'm gonna see if we can take the whole panel out so then we can tighten it separately. If we can, sweet. Otherwise, we're gonna make a little washer for it. All right, so we've got these little black covers off the screws. I'm gonna try and take this whole panel out. As you can see, the whole thing is just kind of spinning in there. Okay, so all the small issues are repaired. I don't know where this video is going, really. I know I need to paint the welds down here. To get the boat slid forward, the winch, I literally can't, it's got too much friction sliding with the boat. So what I think I'm gonna do is back the truck up to the hitch, drop it on the hitch, and ratchet strap from the boat to the hitch on the truck, as well as use the winch, and see if with the two of them I can crank it forward enough to get it up the roller. So that's our next task. So, trying to crank it tight, snapped the arm off. So that sucks. All right, so I don't know where we're at on that video. That's our stopping point on that boat because the nav lights are gonna come in later, but it's literally splice two wires and reinstall. So I need to get set up to film another video today, which I don't know if I'm even gonna finish that one, but I had some outboards, some really old Evinrudes dropped off to me that we're gonna take a look at. Trying to think of what else I could do in here today. It's a nice Saturday. It would be nice to be done kind of early and get some other stuff done, but I need to get a video up for you guys. So I guess let's get these outboards out of the back of my truck and get them set up over here. That's cute. It's tiny. Jesus Christ. That motherfucker's a little heavier. Get in there. All right, everybody, so I think I'm gonna end this video here on this boat. I know it wasn't the most exciting thing in the world, but not all of them are. So I'm gonna get started on this other video, working on those ancient outboards, trying to save those. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I think I already asked this question, but if you guys did want to watch a podcast, definitely a boating type podcast. Weekly uploads, over an hour episodes where we essentially talk about boats, talk about working on boats, stuff like that. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm finally getting things figured out. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it's been nuts for a little bit. Trying to keep up with work and then posting and filming and editing and all that. Just trying to figure out what works for me and then stick to that. So I think I'm starting to get that dialed in. So lots more coming. Like I said, I'm gonna try and keep the vlogs going of just kind of daily shit and some like not necessarily working on boats, but whatever else I'm doing, like working on that car. Try and have that going, as well as the specific boat videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.